Most people think strength looks like winning, outsmarting someone, proving a point, getting the last word. But what if the strongest moment in history looked like picking up an enemy's severed ear in the dirt and healing him? Tonight, I want to tell you a story about Jesus Christ that almost nobody talks about. And if you've ever been betrayed, dismissed, or hurt by someone who faced no consequences, this story is going to sit with you. Because this isn't about religion. It's about who you choose to be when life corners you. Stay with me, because the detail everyone skips changes everything. By the time this story begins, Jesus already knows how it ends. He knows one of his closest friends has sold him out. He knows arrest is minutes away. He knows suffering is coming. He's not calm because he's unaware. He's calm because he's decided something. The location is important. This happens in the Garden of Gethsemane, an olive grove just outside Jerusalem. Quiet, dark, familiar. The kind of place you go when you need to think, or pray, or steady yourself before something hard. If you're middle-aged, you know this feeling. That moment when the kids are grown, the job isn't what it promised, the body hurts a little more than it used to, and life is asking a question you can't dodge anymore. Jesus is there, kneeling, praying, sweating so intensely that Scripture says it looked like drops of blood. And then something breaks the silence. Before I tell you what happens next, listen carefully. Because one man in this scene never asked to be part of history, and yet he is. Torches appear first, then footsteps, then the sound of armor and weapons. A crowd moves toward Jesus, led by Judas. And suddenly, everything accelerates. One of Jesus' disciples panics. He draws a sword. This isn't a trained soldier. This is fear with a blade. He swings. The strike misses its mark. And instead, a man screams. Blood hits the ground. The servant of the high priest collapses, holding his head. His name is Malchus, and his ear has been cut off. Chaos erupts. This is the moment every story turns violent. This is when retaliation feels justified. This is when most people would say, well, that's what you get for coming after me. But this story refuses to go where you expect. Watch what Jesus does next, because it tells you more about strength than any miracle he ever performed. Jesus doesn't shout. He doesn't order angels. He doesn't tell the soldiers to step back. He kneels in the dirt, among enemies, among men who came to chain him. He reaches down and picks up the severed ear. Think about that. Blood, dust, pain. Malchus isn't a believer. He isn't asking for help. He isn't apologizing. He's just hurt. And Jesus heals him. Right there. The bleeding stops. The ear is restored. And for a brief moment, everything goes quiet. Then Jesus looks at his own disciple and says, "Put your sword back in its place." Not because violence failed, but because violence was never the point. Here's what almost no one notices. Jesus heals the only person in the garden who benefits from his arrest. If you've ever been hurt by someone who never said sorry, what happens next is for you. Jesus does not heal Malchus because Malchus believes in him. He heals him because Jesus refuses to become something else. This is not weakness. This is identity. Jesus is saying, without saying it, you don't get to decide who I am by how you treat me. For middle-aged Americans, this hits close to home. Because by this stage of life, you've been overlooked. You've been blamed for things you didn't cause. You've been told to just let it go. You've seen people get away with things. And revenge whispers, just this once, you deserve it. Jesus shows another way, and it costs him everything. Stay with me, because the most uncomfortable truth of this story is still ahead. After healing Malchus, Jesus doesn't argue. He doesn't resist. He walks willingly into custody. Think about that. He fixes the damage, then accepts the consequence. Most of us do the opposite. We demand justice before restoration. Jesus restores even when justice won't come. That's not passive. That's terrifyingly strong. Because it means you stop letting anger steer your character. You stop outsourcing your integrity. You stop measuring your worth by how others behave. This is what real control looks like. If you've been holding onto resentment for years, this next part may feel personal. Most of us won't face soldiers with swords, but we face family members who betray us, coworkers who undermine us, systems that don't care, people who never say thank you. And the question is the same. Will you let this moment define you or refine you? Jesus shows that dignity doesn't come from winning. It comes from choosing who you are when no one would blame you for becoming bitter. He healed the wound he didn't cause, and then he walked forward anyway. Here's the line I want to leave you with. That night in the garden, Jesus healed the only wound that didn't matter, because the real wound he came to fix was the one inside the human heart. If this story spoke to you, it's probably because you've lived long enough to understand it. And if you're still listening, maybe you're stronger than you think. If this story of Jesus touched your heart, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us as we share more powerful, lesser-known stories of Jesus that still speak to our lives today. Have a blessed day ahead.